Humans afraid of a branch snaps. Not loudly, just enough. A dry crack in the darkness. The sound lasts less than a second, but the figure standing beneath the trees freezes immediately. No movement, no breath, no thought beyond a single question. What made that sound? Around him, the forest remains perfectly still. The moon is hidden behind clouds. The air smells of wet earth and leaves. Somewhere far away, an owl calls. Then silence returns. Complete silence. For several seconds, nothing happens, and yet inside his body, an invisible storm has already begun. His heart accelerates, muscles tighten, pupils widen. Blood abandons, places it no longer needs, and rushes toward places that might soon be required. The danger may not even exist, but his body has already made its decision. Because 50,000 years ago, hesitation could be fatal, and fear was not an emotion. It was a survival technology. Most people imagine ancient humans living in constant terror of predators, the darkness, the wolves, the lions, the things hiding beyond the firelight. That certainly happened. But it is not the whole story. In some ways, it is not even the most interesting story. Because when researchers began examining the psychology of fear across human evolution, they discovered something unexpected. The things that threatened our ancestors were often visible. The things that frightened them most were not. The deeper we investigate the ancient human mind, the stranger the landscape becomes. Because beneath every fear of claws, teeth, and darkness existed something larger, something older, something that still lives inside us. The fear of uncertainty. The human brain is often described as a prediction machine. Moment by moment, it constructs expectations about reality. What will happen next? Where danger might emerge? Who can be trusted? What sounds belong in the night? Today, this system operates quietly beneath conscious awareness. But for ancient humans, prediction was life itself. Imagine walking through tall grass on the African savanna. The grass sways. Nothing unusual. Then one patch moves differently. Just slightly. Perhaps it is the wind. Perhaps it is a lion. The difference between those possibilities is enormous. Yet the information available to you is incomplete. You do not know. And that uncertainty is precisely the problem. Modern people often assume fear evolved as a response to danger. The evidence suggests something more subtle. Fear evolved as a response to possibility. A predator visible in the open is already partly understood. A predator hidden somewhere nearby is infinitely more dangerous. One is reality, the other is imagination. And imagination can generate an unlimited number of threats. Long before humanity built cities, invented writing, or mapped the stars, our nervous systems were being shaped by a brutal evolutionary equation. False alarms were cheap. Missed alarms were expensive. If ancient humans occasionally mistook the wind for a predator, they lost a few moments. If they occasionally mistook a predator for the wind, they lost everything. Generation after generation, evolution favored minds that erred toward caution, toward suspicion, toward anticipation, toward fear. The result is a nervous system that still behaves as though shadows might contain teeth, even now. Inside climate-controlled homes, behind locked doors, surrounded by technologies our ancestors could never imagine, the ancient machinery remains active, waiting. Researchers studying modern anxiety have noticed something fascinating. Many of our strongest fears are remarkably disconnected from immediate danger. People fear public speaking more than statistically dangerous activities. They fear social rejection, humiliation, failure, judgment. At first glance, these fears appear irrational, but viewed through an evolutionary lens, something strange happens. They begin to make perfect sense, because for most of human history, survival was not an individual achievement. It was a group achievement. A lone human was vulnerable. A connected human was powerful. To be rejected by your group thousands of years ago was not merely emotionally painful. It could become physically catastrophic. No protection, no food sharing, no collective defense, no tribe, and perhaps no future. This reveals a disturbing possibility. The ancient human mind may not have feared death most intensely. It may have feared exclusion, Not because exclusion felt bad, because exclusion could become death. The modern experience of embarrassment suddenly looks different. So does loneliness. So does shame. Many of the emotions we consider psychological may have originated as survival alarms, signals designed to protect social belonging, echoes from a world that no longer exists. Yet those echoes remain astonishingly loud. But social fears were only the beginning, because beyond predators and beyond other humans stood something even more overwhelming. Nature itself. Imagine witnessing a thunderstorm before science. No meteorology, no atmospheric models, no understanding of electricity, only black clouds swallowing the sky, violent flashes splitting the darkness, thunder exploding across the landscape with enough force to shake the ground beneath your feet. Ancient humans did not simply observe nature. They confronted mysteries they could not explain, and the human brain has never tolerated mystery comfortably. Researchers studying cognition have repeatedly found that people instinctively search for causes, patterns, and explanations. The unknown exerts pressure. The mind wants answers. When answers are unavailable, imagination steps forward. This may explain why spirits, gods, monsters, and supernatural forces appear again and again throughout human history. Not because ancient people were unintelligent, quite the opposite. They possessed the same powerful pattern-detecting brains we possess today, and those brains were attempting to solve impossible puzzles. Every unexplained sound demanded a cause. Every disease required an explanation. Every eclipse transformed the sky into a question. Fear flourished wherever understanding ended. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery emerges when we look deeper still. Beneath predators, beneath storms, beneath social rejection, beneath the unknown itself, there appears to be another fear, one so fundamental that it hides inside almost every other fear humanity has ever experienced. A fear so ancient that it predates civilization, predates language, possibly predates humanity itself. The fear of losing control. Consider the common thread. A predator removes control. A storm removes control. Exile removes control. Disease removes control. Darkness removes control. The future removes control. Again and again, ancient fears converge upon the same psychological fault line. The realization that reality is larger than us, less predictable than us, less concerned with us than we would like to believe. And perhaps this explains something uncomfortable about the modern world. People often assume we have conquered the fears of our ancestors. The evidence suggests otherwise. We have merely changed their costumes. The lion became unemployment. The storm became economic collapse. The tribe became social media. The darkness became uncertainty about the future. Different threats, same nervous system. The ancient human did not disappear. He is still here, still listening for the branch that snaps in the darkness, still scanning the horizon, still searching for patterns, still fearing what cannot be predicted. And perhaps that is the deepest revelation of all. When we ask what ancient humans were actually afraid of, we imagine ourselves studying distant strangers across an immense gulf of time. But the investigation leads somewhere unexpected. The footprints do not end in the past. They continue directly into the present, into our cities, into our relationships, into our ambitions, into our sleepless nights, because the most ancient fear was never truly about predators, or storms, or darkness. It was the realization that existence itself is uncertain. And tens of thousands of years later, despite everything we have learned, despite all our knowledge, despite all our technology, we still wake each morning carrying the same unanswered question that once echoed through prehistoric forests. What is waiting in the dark that we cannot yet see?